Hey everybody, it's Dale.
And this is Eric.
And welcome to the Transformers Beast Wars podcast.
Which you can find at optimusprimecast.com.
This week, episode number 13.
Dark Designs.
Written by Ian Weir.
And directed by Owen Hurley.
Today, Rhinox is converted into a Predacon by one of Tarantulas' machines, but his newfound temper becomes dangerous to Megatron and his crew.
With sexy results.
Yes. You got a subtitle for this one, Eric?
Yeah, this episode's called Make It Stop.
My title for this episode, my alternate title is Almost Pretty Good.
Well, I guess we all know that you're a glutton for punishment.
Come on, no, okay, I know what's bad, but it was trying to be good. There was some good stuff in it, but it starts with bad, and then there's a bunch of bad in the middle, and then there's a ton of bad at the end. but there was some fun to be had in this episode.
Dude, it's a bad sandwich surrounded in bad
and stuffed with bad,
wrapped in a bad wrap with a garnish of on the side.
No. It touched me on a couple of different levels. We'll get there.
Bad touch. Bad touch. Megatron never just wants to talk. Speaking of bad, we open up
with bad. Yes, we open up with Rhinox's wristband
with a horrible, the worst model of Rhinox that we have ever seen in the series, and on top of which he's in a bright outdoor setting, so you see every bad detail. It looks horrible.
It was distracting.
Yes, it was.
It was distracting.
There was
parts
like clipping into other parts. Mm-hmm. It was all weird looking.
They used all of the show's finances on the previous episode's writer.
I guess.
For the first 20 minutes. No,
you know what? Wendy was amazing. Okay, last episode we talked a lot about it. Go back and I want to go back and just listen to that episode and just watch that episode up until the last 5 minutes again. Just watch it over because
Ian Weir wasn't a bad writer. He didn't write a bad episode.
No, he didn't. Well,
he didn't write a bad episode.
We'll get to that.
Okay.
So we open up to this really horrible Rhinox model, and they're
out scouting for Energon.
Yeah, they're looking for Energon. They're looking for other sources, and they find nothing.
Yeah, they find nothing.
There's lots of complaining going on. It's like, hey, you know what? Why are we even out here? This is ridiculous. We're not finding anything. And Optimus Primal goes and says, you know what? For a botched mission, there's a pretty nice view. And then they get attacked.
Is that it? I thought there was more ironic than that.
No.
Or so did nobody say could nothing else go wrong?
I didn't catch that, no.
Okay, alright, I thought that there might have been
maybe
something.
Maybe it's just my
like
head
that.
Screaming at me, my internal voice.
You were just looking at Rhinox's butt.
Time.
You couldn't deal with anything other than Rhinox's butt.
It was horrible.
That was a good sneak attack, though.
It was a decent sneak attack.
Cheetor gets hit by I'm guessing, Pterosaur. It's a red missile. Could have been Scorponok. Either way, he gets hit.
Yeah.
And he gets hit bad.
Yeah.
He ragdolls over into a corner. I don't know how bad that was. Not as bad as Rhinox. Rhinox is huge. And he's supposed to be just a little wrinkly, so when he's jagged and looking like polygons, it's really distracting. But Cheetor all crumpled up in a corner because of all the patterns that are on him. That didn't bother me as much. I don't know that I like the way that they did that. But whatever.
Yeah, they get ambushed. And proceed to have the absolute worst direction in a fight sequence ever.
There was one spot where, when I was able to tear my eyes away from you cringing at the direction of this episode, where I did look up at the screen, and the shot was of the ground, and just lasers passing by the ground.
Yeah, they're like, okay, so there was like really, really, there's shaky cam.
Yeah.
And then there's bad, like, I'm just moving this side to side really drastically, and it's supposed to look like shaking. And that's what this entire freaking episode has. Like, just filled with
when there's
fighting
action. When there's the two big fight scenes. The front and back end fight
scenes. So this fight scene, you're absolutely right. There's shots of the ground.
Yeah.
It's like, what is that?
Yeah,
I don't know.
Shots of
What's
the ground.
going
There's
on
shots
here?
where, I want to know when this came out versus Saving Private Ryan.
No.
Because I think that's what they were trying to go for.
No.
No, you're not gonna.
No.
Right,
I'm not gonna give you that. I'm not gonna give you that at all. There are shots where they're up against the cliff face. Okay, so they're on this platform. The
Predacons have the higher ground. Yeah.
They're shooting, and there's a full like a minute of this shot where it's shaky cam focused onto the background of this cliff face, and the Maximals are like cut off in the bottom of the frame, and you can barely make them out, and you can't see the Predicons above them because the shot's just not there. There's no composition. It's like, really, what's going on?
Okay, not very artistic.
No,
not very artistic. But they were trying to convey the chaos.
It was horrible.
Yeah, it wasn't good, but they were trying to convey the chaos of the scene. There was a couple little shots, a few frames here and there where it was doing good, and then there was some where it totally didn't make sense. Especially since this is the first time they've done anything like this in any episode. There are no episodes where there's like where the camera, like the camera does so much of the work to give the show excitement. And in this case, we have this fight, and they're trying to really, really give it a lot of excitement and chaos, but it just didn't work. It just didn't work. There's one shot of Megatron where it looked like somebody was filming with a camera a screen of Megatron talking in a stationary position, and then just moving the camera around. Like I don't know what that's supposed to emulate, other than there's a hand shaky cam, but it looked like a bad helicopter shot.
Like maybe like they're trying to emulate like back in the 90s and 2000s, like early 2000s. There were shows like NYPD Blue, where it was like the real camera, where the camera was moving around, like someone's trying to jockey for to see what's going on, and that's like the point of view cam. But like it just was so horribly done. Like I just couldn't get into it. There's a scene where Optimus Primal, after in the initial of it, Optimus Primal goes and transforms, and he like takes to the jets.
Yeah, Prime Jet's on.
Yeah, and they cut him. The camera's on the ground with him. He shoots up real fast, going up through the screen. So you see his feet. They pass by, and then it cuts to this directly overhead shot of him slowly moving up towards the camera.
Yeah, that was the worst.
So
when
all
he
the
starts
motion is
a
lost.
Little bit, yeah.
And then
he gets shot immediately.
He gets shot immediately, just shot down. And then it does the reverse shot for like the Predicons. And it's just like, okay, you're setting up this stuff, and then you're just shooting it down, well, literally and figuratively. And it just kept on.
Yeah, it was frustrating.
Anyway, so
it was frustrating.
The fight goes on.
The fight's going bad for the Maximals, too. They're
Yeah.
getting their butts handed to them. Primal is down.
Primal's down. Primal got shot down. Rat Trap and Dinobot are starting to argue. Rat Trap's like, we gotta run away.
Shut up, Rat Trap.
And Dinobot's, no, we need to advance. We need to attack.
Get on their position. And meanwhile, Rhinox is shooting in a random kind of a scatter shot kind of way, which for a second I was like, man, how come they never shoot straight? Because I was just figuring that it was just like regular robots fighting, because they don't really shoot at each other. They shoot in the general direction of their enemy without actually aiming, unless it's an important shot.
Yes.
So when I see Rhinox shooting the rock wall behind Megatron, I was just like, well, that's just what happens. He can't hit him.
That's what they do.
But then
Cheetor actually makes
calls
a
him out. I was like,
dude,
what
the heck? Start shooting them. Like, you're missing them by a
by a parsec.
For all you Star Wars fans out there, with the Millennium Falcon making the Kessel Run in less than 12 parsecs. Parsecs is a unit of measure
of distance.
Yeah,
of distance, not time. Yeah,
distance.
So Cheetor uses it right.
Yes.
Yeah,
which is great.
So that was one of the first of many references in this episode that went right. What? That happens pretty close to the end of the shaky cam nonsense.
Tell me I'm wrong, and I'll apologize right now.
Because what happens is Rhinox is shooting around the Predacons to set up an avalanche, a rock slide,
and
which falls on.
Sure enough, it falls on and covers all the Predacons that are sitting there waiting.
Yeah, he did a great job.
Yeah, it was fine.
And then Rhinox takes the lead.
Yeah,
this is where the episode gets good for a while.
For like 2 seconds.
It gets good for a while.
It's 2 seconds.
Because what they need to. This is the one shot Rhinox episode. Let's look at Rhinox and see that he's really a bad dude, but he wants to just smell the roses. He's a gentle giant.
Yeah. So Rhinox, he's like, okay, he takes charge. He's like, okay, get Prime on his feet. Dinobot, do this.
Dinobot take the lead. Rat Trap and Cheetor hold on to Prime.
Yeah.
And I'll take up the rear.
I'll take up the rear and make sure nobody's coming. So they start going ahead. Rhinox is following up in the rear. We get to see out of the rubble. We see Tarantulas kind of uncover Megatron. And then Megatron's like, "Ooh, yes, that Rhinox Maximal, he could do me some favors."
Yes.
Rhinox is really underperforming on the store shelves. He's going to turn into quite the shelf warmer, and we've got to sell some Rhinox figures. Yes.
And not only Rhinox figures, but Rhinox alt figures, which we'll get into in a second.
Did they make alt figures?
Oh, I don't know. You're the toy expert.
Yeah, you were about to blow my mind.
I've never seen Dale's eyes so wide.
Yeah. What? I got really excited because I looked at that model. I was like, oh, I wonder if they sold that. They probably didn't sell that. They didn't sell it. I've never seen that. I would have known.
So Megatron basically tells Tarantulas, "Listen, you need to get this guy.
Yeah.
Bring him back. I want him. Can I have him?
Yeah. Icon has Rhinox.
I want him. I want him. I want to talk with him."
So Tarantula. It cuts to Rhinox telling the rest of the crew, "Oh, you guys go on ahead. I'll catch up."
Yeah,
it
everything
pretty
seems clear back here.
Uh-huh.
And he radios to the folks because they're far enough ahead that he can't like just say it in earshot. He radios to them. Everything's clear. Go on ahead.
Mm-hmm.
And then he starts walking by. He smells a flower.
No, he doesn't smell nothing there. No,
okay,
no.
I'm sorry. He wasn't smelling nothing.
Tarantulas just gets the drop on him.
Yeah, captures him in his web.
Yep, sprays a web on him.
And rather than radio and say help, he just
kind of grunts and groans a little bit.
Yeah, and he just takes it. Yeah,
Yep.
This is what's happening.
And then Tarantulas takes a bite out of him.
Yeah,
which turns him off. Yeah, he's immobilized.
He uses a venom.
Mm-hmm.
Or
something. Yeah, something there worked. We don't get an explanation as to what exactly happened, but Tarantulas does a spider thing, and Rhinox
he disappears.
He behaves as if he was bitten by a spider doing its thing.
He dies.
Yes,
End of the episode.
and that's why Eric doesn't like the episode. He loved Rhinox.
He was my best friend.
Yes, that is precisely what happened, and I'm staying with that story. End of episode.
Rhinox wakes up tied up. I'm sorry, but Rhinox is hilariously cute, all tied up, hog-tied, sitting on his little rhino butt, and chained up, and like looking like an elephant in a Disney movie.
Yeah.
And he is in, what is this thing called? A transmuter?
Yeah, the transmutation or transmuter device or whatever.
Yeah, the transmuter device that Tarantulas has made.
Yeah,
has invented.
Yeah, he just invented it.
Yeah,
I guess this is recent. This is a recent thing. And
well, these are the things that they do. I mean, Rhinox had to invent on the fly a thing to extract Primal's spark and body from a corn nut, and now. And now Tarantulas is going to be able to reprogram a live specimen into a Predacon,
which is fine. Okay, we'll deal with that. Fine, but all right. So he made it. He made it specifically for this purpose. It had no purpose up until the point where it didn't exist. Up until Megatron saying, "Get me that rhinoceros." We cut to the Maximals going, "Where's Rhinox? I don't know. Something happened. We must go get him."
And they're trying to get him on the radio.
Yeah, and they can't get him. Oh, the Predicons must have get him. We need to rush in there and go get him now. And then Rattrap's like, "Hold on, I could try to pick him up on a frequency here and force my way into his comm channel." So they overhear this kind of back and forth playback that's going on with exposition with Rhinox and Megatron.
Yeah. And they're going back and forth. Megatron's telling him that he's going to turn him into a...
I'm going to turn him into Predacon.
You're in this thing, and I'm going to make you into this thing.
Yeah.
And that's what's going to happen. Yes.
And he's like, you know what? Rhinox has a great moment here. Great moment. I'll give you that. Where he's like, hey, you know what? That's fine and dandy, but if you're going to do it, can you just do it already? Shut up. Do it. And then he does it.
But hold on. The Darksyde works now.
Yeah.
The Darksyde has had too many explosions in it.
2 major explosions.
Yeah, 2 major explosions in it.
Back to back.
I have trouble rolling out on the fact that the Darksyde still works. Especially knowing where the series goes, damage does become permanent. I swear to God. I swear to God, yeah. Eventually, they stop being able to fix things. Maybe that's the thing. They are early enough in this war to where they have enough resources to continually fix
each other.
these hugely devastating explosions that are happening inside and around their bases. So anyway, stupid Darksyde's working.
Even if the space drive is not working to the extent where they are able to fly, the drive system is enough to as a generator for power. And all those parts were pilfered in the last episode.
Transform and roll out. I have no apologies for that. All right. I'll save my battles in this episode.
All right. So anyway,
lasers hit Rhinox, and Rhinox changes color.
Yeah, he gets transformed into.
They get a close up. They get a close up of his eye. Gothanox. He has red eyes now. I have red eyes. So he has red eyes now, and the first thing he says is Rhinox terrorize, and he's got a new paint job. The inside of his rhino mouth is all glammed out.
And he's purplish.
Yeah, and he's purple.
He's a purplish color.
Yeah, he's looking a little bit more like
silver.
Megatron.
He has like a Star Child thing going on.
A lot of silver.
Yeah.
He's very, very shiny. And then later on, I saw that he has spiky boots on.
He has spiky boots.
Yeah. Turned into a motorcycle.
He got spiky. His horn on the front, like on his head, his rhino head, is like super sharp now. Uber sharp.
Oh, yeah.
And in this episode in particular, even when it starts off, as a Maximal, his teeth are super sharp compared to
his teeth
they were in any other episode.
Yeah, he's not so gentle giant. He's looking a little bit meaner in this one. Yeah, and those were sharp teeth.
Yeah, man. Not even sharper than like Megatron's. Like when Megatron.
Yeah, they were nasty. Yeah, they were. He was evil.
Yeah, so he transforms, and then he's like, "So is this a private club,
or can anybody join?
Can anybody sign up?" Hardy, har.
Yeah.
And, while this is going on, we got the Maximals going, we gotta go save him! And then Primal is like, no, wait. We're gonna let this play out a little.
Yeah.
And then, knowing what I know, I think Megatron's gonna be in for a little bit more than he bargained for.
Yes. Come on, that's hilarious.
No.
At least it's having fun with itself. When Optimus Primal says yes, I laughed out loud. I lolled, literally. I didn't ruffle, but I lolled. Okay. And it was good. That was funny. And so the Maximals don't like it. Now they're underpowered. Aside from the fact that they can't, everybody wants to go rushing in and rescue Rhinox. But the thing is that there's only 4 of them now.
Yeah. Well,
there's 4 of them and Tigatron in the episode. So there's 4 of these. There's 4 Maximals here, and now the Predacons have 6, 7?
Yeah, and actually,
they gotta be up to 7.
Prime actually kind of lays it out there, and he says, "Listen, we can't just go and barge in there right now. Right now, we are outnumbered, and that also includes Rhinox.
Yeah,
like he's not going to be on our side when we go in there to try to rescue him. Let's see how this plays out." And then we cut to basically Megatron bringing over Rhinox to okay, so here's the plan. So this is your old abode, right?
Yeah.
So tell me all of its secrets. And then it shorts out.
Yeah.
He's like, damn it! It must have been the thing with the stuff. And he's hitting the buttons and everything. And he's like, well, I'm going to go do something over here now.
So he Eeyores it over to Scorponok, who's digging around in the computer room, big ass computer room, and looking for what is wrong with the computers.
I guess so, yeah.
And it's missing a thing. I didn't write down what the thing was.
He's missing the insert thing here. But yeah, it's missing this weird chip and a calculator of some sort. And he's like, well, what's taking so long? The chief wants to know what your progress is. He's like, I don't understand what's going on. This is missing. I can't believe it. I don't know what I'm going to do. And then as Scorponok goes and takes a look to try to look for said item, MacGuffin.
Yeah, the MacGuffin.
We cut to a shot of Rhinox just totally playing to the camera. Oh, this thing here, and then crunches it in his hand, and
it shows that Rhinox is sabotaging things on the ship.
Yeah, and then it goes on a little bit further, and basically
at this point, I'm wondering if he's rat trapping the thing.
Yeah, and it's like, okay, now this starts to make sense because Primal was like, no, wait, hold on, and
is Rhinox just more strong-willed?
Maybe I don't know. More
strong-willed than his paint job might lead you to believe.
Maybe it's just a ploy. But yeah, and then he starts messing around with like the towers and piles of console stuff.
Yeah, and Scorponok tells him to stop. Hey, be careful.
And then he goes, I am being careful. You see, because I'm on this side of this pile. And then he pushes
fall
it
that way.
Yeah.
Onto Scorponok, who almost gets broken in a cool way. Almost. If they took out the last bit. Okay, so this tower of computers falls down on Scorponok, knocking him down. And his head ends up against the floor between a hard thing and the floor, and then his eyes crack. The glass in his eyes crack. And maybe one of his teeth or something are chipped like that. If it stopped there, it would have been great. Just make his eyes go out and call it a day. But instead they did the cartoony head squish at the end.
Yeah, which, I mean, that would be fine if they just followed through with the rest of it. Yeah, that stuff's big, bulky, and it's heavy. Sure, it is possible, plausible, or whatever, that it could crush, the head like that. In any case, you know what? I changed my secondary title.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to change it to Dark Designs, The Good Son.
Oh God!
Which is
Macaulay. This week, Rhinox will be played by Macaulay Culkin.
Yeah, and it's the Macaulay Culkin, Rhinox, and then we have Scorponok playing the role of.
I don't know, man.
It begins with an E.
It's not Elijah Wood or something.
Elijah Wood.
It is?
Yeah, it is
Elijah
Wood.
Wood. I will have to go see this movie then. I've never seen it, but I know the premise.
Okay.
It's one of those things that I never really felt the need to see.
Yeah, it's not good either. So it works on two levels here. So he gets crushed, and then Megatron and Waspinator start going to looking for him. Where is he? Oh, well, here he is. Hey,
here
get
he
up.
is, just fooling around.
Yeah.
Get him to the rejuvenation tank.
And they throw him in the rejuvenation tank. Mm-hmm. And then after they get him in there, Waspinator's flying around and complaining like Waspinator does.
Mm-hmm. And he turns around and gets what is it, is it it's like one of those old Acme 2-ton weights that Wile E. Coyote would get
it's
on
one
a
of the
rope.
console pieces
it's
that
piece of the
Rhinox
computer?
threw down on top of Scorponok.
But now it's hanging from a chain.
Yeah.
And he gets swats Waspinator right out of the sky.
With it, yeah. He swings it, hits Waspinator as he's trying to go through a doorway. Mm-hmm. And then this, I guess, damages him in a way that it
messes up his brain.
Yeah. And he's flying around thinking he's a Decepticon.
He starts talking about Autobots. The Autobots are coming. Decepticons attack. He says he mentions shrapnel. He says he is shrapnel.
He says
I am shrapnel. Shrapnel is an Insecticon. He's one of the original Insecticons.
Okay.
Yeah, that's why I love that. I was like, oh man, does Waspinator carry the spark of shrapnel? I'm gonna have to TF wiki this. So I'm going to Transformers wiki this thing, but I loved hearing that.
But
and then and Black Arachnia, you don't approve of Black Arachnia being familiar with Cybertronian history?
Well, I mean, here,
she says that he says he's shrapnel. That's a Decepticon from the Great War more than 3 centuries ago.
I had a problem with that. Mm-hmm. Because she had everything wiped. She had her memory wiped, and she's a
I don't know that her memory was wiped. It's just a personality shift. When Rhinox is turned into a Predacon, he still remembers the Maximal base. He doesn't get a new identity. They came from different spots, but it was a part of them that is being...
So how does the reprogramming of a blank or a protoform and making them into a or turning them into a Predacon different than what?
Slow down.
How is that different from what happened to Rhinox?
What do you mean? But that's what I'm saying. It's the same thing. It's obvious he still has all the information that he had, but now he has a core belief that's different.
But he knows who he is.
Yeah, he knows who he is. And
the protoforms after their mind wipe are being made into
they're not. Oh, come on! No, when
know who they are.
When Primal, Cheetor, Rhinox, Rat Trap, all got their new forms, they were still those bots on a mission. They still had their own personal histories. Rhinox still has his own personal history afterwards. Black Arachnia is a corrupted protoform. Her personality was changed, but her identity was not. Well, I don't know about necessarily identity. That information is still extant.
Okay.
Obviously, she just knows. I mean, you know, these are things like if you're going to be a Predacon, you're going to know why or what a Predacon is and how they're descended of Decepticons, and how that all.
And of course,
played out.
300 years worth of history and names.
They are robots.
Are we really going to go into like the whole memory aspect of these robots and how they're not able to forget unless they're selective forgetting? No. You know what? I'm just going to roll out.
You go ahead and roll
out
on that.
because it means less time spending on this episode.
This is true, but you know, the way that I figure is what it really is, more than justifying why Black Arachnia knows the history of the Great War and who Shrapnel was. That is the writers, the producers of this show. They did a lot of work to tie Beast Wars into the Transformers, the G1 continuity.
Yeah,
you know, so you know where this is coming from in history. You know, but little lines like that, like 300 years after the Great War, the centuries of peace that came after that Primal was talking about. You know, this is it's cool. You know, it's nice to know that they are trying to be respectful of what came before, not just rebooting and putting everybody in furry pants.
Okay. So anyway,
I like Shrapnel. Shrapnel's an Decepticon. So anyway.
All right. So this happens to Waspinator. Waspinator's bouncing all around, and Pterosaur actually catches it. He's like, so that's the play, huh?
So he confronts Rhinox in a hallway.
He's like, hey. I see you're trying to do this.
I see you're trying to be Starscream.
I like it.
Yeah, I like it. I want in.
I'll
help you do it. We'll do that. We'll split it 50-50, right? To which Rhinox says, no.
And he grabs him by the throat, throws him up against the wall. He's like, I'm going to tell you the way it is. Mm-hmm. You're not going to say anything. Because I'm going to mop the floor with every single one of you. Mm-hmm. You're all gonna die.
And if you say anything, you're going to be delicious.
Yeah, like, I'm gonna make you into some pterosaur wings, or
pterosaur hot wings, or something like that.
Pterodactyl hot wings.
Pterodactyl hot wings. Either way, it made me hungry. And
yeah, we don't have any wings here, dude.
No, we don't. We don't.
That's sad.
It's too late to get wings too.
No.
Is this where Rhinox says yes? No, he says it later.
No, he says it later.
He says it later.
But he basically takes care of Pterosaur. He's like, no, you're not gonna say anything.
You're not gonna get in my way.
And then he just basically leaves him after he like crushes him basically up against the wall, almost choking him like completely.
Yep. And then cuts to Megatron looking at the security cameras, and he sees the spiders both dangling from webs,
just chilling in their hammocks.
Yeah, super tight hammocks. He's like, the spiders have been poisoned.
And how does he know they've been poisoned?
I don't know, but he's very smart.
Like, here's a video of spiders just kind of swinging back and forth in the webs. You know, how strange is it for spiders to be like in a web?
Well, no, but they're hanging in bag webs instead of lounging in hammock webs.
And rather than be like they're trapped in webs, they've been poisoned.
They're poisoned. Yeah.
All right.
So roll out. That's of no consequence. Either way, Megatron is catching on that everybody is getting...
Yeah, everyone's getting incapacitated. It's like, what is going on here? And then, finally... and
Scorponok shows up. Scorponok is sitting next to him with his arms, like, dangling, his feet dangling.
Scorponok looks like a little kid kind of sitting on the dock, his legs kind of kicking out.
Megatron hands him a doll, says, where did he touch you?
And he's like, what happened? And he's like, well, and then they fell down on top of me. I couldn't do anything. It was dark. And then Megatron puts his head. He's like, there. It's okay. Yeah. This is all his fault.
Yeah.
And I'm going to put an end to this.
Yeah. Megatron finally catches on. Rhinox was a bad idea. We're going to have to kill him.
Yeah. And we're going to end this experiment and end Rhinox.
Yeah, end the experiment and Rhinox. Now we're back at the Maximals. I think we might have seen them once before. They just show up a little bit here and there to say, is it going bad for Megatron? I told you it'd be going bad for Megatron. It's going bad for Megatron.
And here's another issue that I have with this, because we have, at this point, we have Cheetor making comments about how how this is great, how this is ridiculous, and how this is all playing out, and maybe we should do something. And Prime's like, no, and he's like, wait, so you're telling me you knew this all along? And Prime's like, I figured that this transmuter would have this effect where it would make him more aggressive.
Yeah.
How the heck did you figure that out?
Tell me I'm wrong and I'll apologize right now.
You just heard about the transmuter device when Rat Trap patched into his comm. How would you know that, its function? How would you have forethought into knowing how it would affect Rhinox and make him this thing?
He heard some of what Megatron was saying, and he drew some conclusions.
But it seems like a really... all right.
It's reaching. It's a reach. It's a reach. It's so that they can stay out of this fight and let Rhinox sell toys for reasons... Oh, for actually a specific reason, rather than for just general reasons. I don't know, man.
I just can't get behind it.
Yeah.
Because it's like it's the usual stupid plan that blows up in Megatron's face. Okay, granted, that's par for the course.
Yes.
But a horrible idea plan in the like concocted by Optimus Primal,
but it works out.
That puts in
that puts one of his own in danger.
The group in jeopardy.
Yeah.
Because it's not just like Rhinox. Like, what if he's not able to? There are so many different contingencies here to go and fix this. In that same scene, he's like, okay, well, we should go get him now while he's got everyone kind of on the fence. He's like, no, they're going to make their final play here. We need to wait until that happens. And if we try to run in there, there's going to be more
bad camera work.
Yeah. There's going to be more. There's going to be more Predacons in there than Maximals. We need to back off. We need to wait to see how this plays out. Now,
they are, however, going to sneak up on the ship. They are going to get in position and hold that position until the opportune moment, which might take months. Who knows?
Yeah.
The maximal plan in this episode is not a very maximal-ish plan. They should have been more proactive. They should have been sending Rat Trap in there to do some spy work, sneaking around, and have them like in the background seeing Rhinox do all this stuff, as opposed to just listening in over the radio and not getting involved.
But they're not able to get. They're not like after that first scene when he is turned into a Predacon. They lose that radio signal. They are unable to tap into the comm system, and they are not able to hear anything that's going on. So how?
Oh, do they?
Yeah,
and they don't know. They don't. Oh.
They don't. There's nothing that's kind of shown that how they're able to regain that signal or regain that insight. So all this is just
lots of conjecture.
You know what? I have a good feeling about this.
Feeling about this.
This is what's going to go on.
My feels are telling me that Rhinox is wreaking havoc in there. Yeah, I guess no logic there. You can't win. You can't win.
I win.
Yep.
So anyway, as Prime said, there's going to be one last play. Megatron's going to be doing, and same thing with Rhinox. Let's see how this plays out, and then we have Megatron confront Rhinox as he's walking by. And he's like, so, how is the traitor doing today?
And Rhinox takes it in his stride, and he terrorizes, and then he grabs Megatron, and then Megatron says,
oh, God. No, well, this is basically this is the horrible puns. It hurts. It burns. We have... I'm doing great. He maximizes, and he's like, I guess we could just do this now. And he grabs Megatron by the neck, and he says, do you hear that? They're playing our song.
Yeah, that's right. It's time to dance.
Time to dance. And then, there's a really bad fight. And, he knocks Megatron away. Megatron calls in...
this is where... Oh, no, yeah, it is later. Yeah, Megatron calls in Pterosaur and Scorponok, who are on either side.
Yeah, and box him in.
Yeah, they box him in.
And then Rhinox starts... he starts...
He calls out Pterosaur. Which he tails on Pterosaur, which is funny. That was funny. Oh, come on, you two, Pterosaur? I thought we had a deal.
Like,
you just can't tell with this guy.
You can't tell with some people. And
that makes Scorponok
gets
mad.
really mad.
Because Scorponok heart Megatron. And Scorponok jumps over Rhinox to engage Terrorsaur in a fight.
Just start beating him up.
And now Megatron is mad.
Yeah, and while this is all going on, and they're fighting, Rhinox gets up behind the two of them, grabs them by the scruff of the neck, and then makes them kiss.
Oh, yeah.
Like, now kiss. Smashes their faces together.
Yeah, he smashes them together and
drops
then
them down.
drops them, and then that's it. That's it for them.
And that's
now he's
pretty much
alone
it
with
for them.
Yeah, and now he's alone with Megatron.
So he pulls out his gun.
And shoots Megatron's legs.
He shoots out his legs. This is his knees. And it's extended, and Megatron loses his footing, like, completely, because his legs collapse, and he falls down.
And now he
hits
can't
the
walk
floor.
too good no more.
Yeah.
For a minute.
So...
And that's when Rhinox says yes.
Yeah, he jumps down, lands on the platform, and he's like, all right, yeah, I'm going to finish this. You know, you underestimated me when you brought me on, and blah, blah, blah.
And now he's walking around, parading himself on the
monologuing.
transmuter.
Yeah,
He's back on the transmuter. And then Megatron closes that bit by saying that he's learned a lesson. He's like,
I learned a lesson about Predacons that you did teach me. Or he's like, you did teach me one thing. And he's like, what was that? And he's like, the Predacons.
Sometimes Predacons gloat too much.
Yeah, gloat too much. And then he shoots...
He has an awesome trick shot.
Something, yeah.
He shoots something, ricochets his laser off of that to hit the on button to turn Rhinox back into
a Maximal. And of course he's like, where am I?
Where am I?
What's going on here?
Where are my daisies to smell?
And then Megatron shoots him and he falls backwards. And then at that precise moment, the Maximals then blow the hole in the Darksyde, precisely where they are in the ship, and then
and they break in,
and start fighting,
and then all hell breaks loose on the camera again.
Oh God! There were points where I just gave up trying to figure out what was happening.
Yeah, this one was better than the first one. It was shorter than the first one. As far as like the fight between
there's a fight between Scorponok and Dinobot.
Yeah, that was good.
It was okay.
It was the best thing.
It started off good.
Scorponok versus Dinobot was the best.
Dinobot goes and throws his spinny sword, and it goes through the shoulder of Scorponok. And then he lunges towards them, and then they do a fight.
They're doing together. A thing, and then we finally see Dinobot's tail do anything.
Yeah, other than just rotate.
Yeah, other than spin. But that's one of two Indiana Jones references that happen in this fight. Okay, because first, Optimus Primal is waving his swords around and not hitting anything. He's just voguing. He's just posing, and there's a lot of a lot of sounds, and Megatron just shoots him.
I didn't catch that.
Yeah, it was exactly that, because while other robots are actually fighting each other,
I was totally being comatose by the lack of any mouth movement by any of the characters as they made these battle cries and shouts or yells of pain as the fighting went on. Like, none of these characters, there'd be like this big huge like and there'd just be closed mouth. Yeah. Like, just shot, like close up shot of their face.
Everybody should have had a faceplate. It would have made everything better. Waspinator made another. He's still stuck in G1.
And this is
he calls Cheetor a bumblebee.
Yeah, he does. And this is the funny thing. So it's like, well, Waspinator doesn't get fixed. Everyone else got fixed.
Yeah. Waspinator is still messed up. Tarantulas is there. They're having fights. Robots are hitting other robots, except for Optimus Primal and Megatron.
Yeah, they go off one on one.
And but yeah, Optimus Primal does the sword thing, and then Megatron shoots him, and then the other Indiana Jones thing is the helicopter blades from later in that movie, because that's what he does to Scorponok.
Well, it's not it's the plane blades. It's not.
It's a plane. That's right.
But...
Yeah, it's a plane. Yeah, it's the plane that's turning around and he gets out of the way. But Dinobot is just thwapping.
Yeah, on his head. It's just I don't know. It doesn't seem like what is happening.
It's a little silly, but
not strike me as why are you doing this?
We needed to see that tool do something at some point or another. But then something cool does happen when Optimus Primal actually does hit something with his sword. He cuts Megatron's arm head off.
And yeah.
That was cool.
That was cool.
I liked that. That was a good shot.
Once again, no mouth movement when that happens.
Yeah.
And it just pulls you out of it, man. I can't get behind it. I can't feel the satisfaction.
I didn't catch very much of that at all, personally.
It was just horrible.
Yeah, I'm sure if you're looking for it and you notice it...
I wasn't looking for it.
Well, if you notice it once, you're going to notice it for the rest. You're going to be like, hold it, hold it. It's like in G1 when the wrong person's mouth is moving. Somebody else's voice coming out of the wrong body. Yeah, so then they just escape, right?
Well,
no, there's going to be an explosion.
Yeah,
there's going to be some other explosion.
They cut off Megatron's arm.
The
Waspinator gets shot and then falls down. His gun goes off as he hits the ground and shoots the transmuter, which starts a feedback loop or whatever. It starts to explode. Rat Trap shouts, "Everyone out of the pool!" Yeah. Prime is like, "We need to get out of here now." And Dinobot's like, "No, now's our chance to take it over." And he's like, "No, that's an order. Get Rhinox and get out of here."
Mm-hmm. So Dinobot picks up Rhinox.
Yeah,
that was awesome.
And then they get out of there, and then it
doesn't explode.
No, not really.
There wasn't a very big explosion. I just saw some smoke coming up out of the distance. The Maximals all run away, and there wasn't... I was waiting for the explosion, and them all to jump up in the air.
Because when it comes to the Darksyde, 13's its limit.
Yeah, I suppose. It
won't blow up anymore.
So there was a not satisfying explosion there, and then cut back to Megatron telling Pterosaur that he is not pleased. And Pterosaur's probably...
like, "Oh no,
I'm so sorry, boss. Come on, man.
It wasn't... I didn't really mean it. What's going on?" And he's like, "I am not happy." Okay.
And he's pointing at him with his
stump.
With his strong hand. Not my strong hand. And then
my squeezing arm.
Yeah, my squeezing arm.
My squeezing arm.
Yeah, and then we cut to a lame shot.
Everything is happy, hunky dory.
Yeah, Rhinox is smelling a flower. Primal is reading.
There's
Rat Trap and
a picnic. We got a picnic in a floor, a freaking
oasis.
Whatever.
Yeah, some random little tropical paradise
Primal's
that they walked off to.
Everyone's kind of joking around with Rhinox. So what was it like being a pred? And he's like, what did he say? He said it was like being
like having 3 gigabytes of
3 gigabytes of attitude
on a 2 gigabyte drive.
Yeah, on a 2 gigabyte drive.
No wonder they have such personality problems.
Yeah, and they're all slamming Predacons,
and Cheetor says, "Yeah, better dead than Pred."
Yeah, and it's like Dinobots,
and they laugh and laugh.
Yeah, and he's like, "Jesus Christ!" Like,
yeah, Dinobots,
especially like coming off of the last episode where it's like, "Hey guys, be sensitive. What's going on here?" Or whatever.
Be nice to
and
Dinobot.
Everyone's chiming in, like, "Let's all beat up on freaking Dinobot."
Mm-hmm. And then credits roll as they laugh and laugh.
Yeah.
The show gets better, I promise. the episodes that are...
Dale, you say this so often, it loses its meaning.
No, come on, it's only been twice. I think it's only been twice. But these episodes, the less than stellar episodes are fewer and farther between as we go through, as we progress. I don't know. This was one of those things where it felt like a filler episode. It didn't feel like it was... Yeah, it wasn't trying to advance plot. It wasn't trying to do things. We are very close to some stuff that's doing things. And I'm fairly excited about that.
I think that Ian Weir did an alright job with the story. I really think that Owen Hurley screwed the pooch. Mm-hmm. I think what is in a name? Everything.
Did Owen make you Hurley?
Yeah. Owen Hurley. He made me Owen Hurley. That's what he made me. He made me Owen Hurley. Oh, little Hurley. That's what he... Yes, I'm going there. But yeah, I mean, he ruined it. Like, this episode would have been so much more enjoyable if it wasn't so horrifically put together. And like, for everyone who would knock this show just on its premise and on its animation to start off with, I mean, let's face it, this is like in the very early stages of CG animation as a mainstream, and mass producing it on a weekly TV show schedule. There are some cuts that you need to do in order to be able to put out that type of volume.
And this is a really long season. The first season is twice as long as the other two.
And in any case...
And the other two seasons are one episode shorter.
You have a very, very, very thin line that you don't want to cross to kind of scare away the people or validate the preconceptions that they have of how crappy this series is. And if someone were just like in passing, what are you watching?
If this was the show?
I'm watching Beast Wars, and then you see this episode, it's like, no, I'm never gonna watch.
I'll
this.
go watch Ravage.
This is stupid.
Yeah. This is not the episode to show people to introduce them to the show.
And
and
if I was personally just watching this on my own, not for this podcast, and I came across it and I decided just to put on Beast Wars just to kind of get into it, this episode might be a game breaker. It might just.
You think after watching the first dozen episodes, this one would have stopped you?
I think that after watching this episode, I'd be very reluctant to watch the next one.
You'd probably take a break.
I'd probably take a very long break.
All right,
How about a very, very long break?
Well, how about we just take a 1 week break, Eric?
I don't know, Dale. 2 weeks ago, I was left just feeling empty inside after the probe.
That was because you had feelings.
Transmitter got probed. You know what? You want to make a judgment on my feelings? Fine.
No,
right?
those feelings.
I don't have to deal with. You know what, Dale? I'm done.
Good luck doing your show. I'm not gonna do this anymore with you. I just can't.
Well, I just don't know. He was my best friend.
Oh, Dale. But yeah, I don't know.
It'll be okay. The show will make it up to you. I won't. The show will. The show will. You'll see. You just wait and see. The show is your Cheetor.
All right.
The Cheetor to your Prime.
All right.
Just let Bumblebee prove himself.
Okay, fine.
It'll be okay.
Old
It always
Bumble
gets
fingers.
better.
All right.
Until then. Until it gets better.
Until it gets better.
Just until it gets better. Hopefully next week. I've been Dale.
And I've been Eric.
And thanks for listening to the Transformers Beast Wars podcast.
Which you can find at optimusprimecast.com.
High five.